This is a how-to video, how to repair an Asus Q537f, power jack, power socket, power input, charging port, basically how to fix charging port on this laptop right here. Unfortunately, this is the first time I see this model, and we will try to take this laptop apart and see if we can fix it. The laptop has no power. The client sent us the power supply and the laptop, so there is no power whatsoever coming to the laptop. But sometimes, not sometimes, but this type of jack, it doesn't really go bad that often. So it's my understanding that it might not be the jack, and it might be just a waste of my time working on this laptop. At least I'm gonna make a video showing how to take it apart, so maybe somebody will find this video useful. Alrighty, so the screwdriver bit to take the laptop apart is T5. So right now we're taking the laptop apart right here. So T5 is Torx 5, this is a long screw. That one is also the long screw. Let's see if all of them are the same screw type. Again, it might be the power connector, power jack, power socket, power input, power port, charging port. It might not be, but we will see in a second. Because the jack doesn't seem to be broken from the outside. Usually you have to jiggle the plug to make the system work. But this thing again, this thing isn't this laptop, this Asus Q537f isn't really, doesn't seem to be damaged that much. Let's take the, again, this is the first time me taking it apart. There might be a screw here, might be a screw right there, don't know yet. Right here. Alright, so the small screws are all around except the rear four are okay, like that. Good job. Alright, on the inside everything looks perfect on this side. So what I want to do is let's test the system to see if the current goes through to the laptop. And before we're gonna shove the current in there, what I want to do is test the plug. Alright, and we get 20 volts right there on the plug. More than 20 for some reason. Probably an aftermarket. Oh, you know what looks like an aftermarket power supply here. 6 amps. Yeah, so the laptop needs 6 amps. Let's see how much voltage is going through. And nothing is going through. All right. Now that could be one of two things. By the way, let me see if this guy shut down itself or it didn't shut down. No, it didn't shut down. So if the power supply didn't get shut down, that means it didn't encounter any shortages. Usually, it means. Here I want you to be, if you decide to send just the motherboard, just be extremely careful disconnecting this plug right here. You have to slide this guy that way. And then lift up this guy right here. Unscrew 1, 2, and 3. And you see that's the reason why I disconnected the battery first. because if you drop a screw on the motherboard, it might short everything. So we're just gonna remove the battery. Here is where we're gonna open up this guy. Open up that guy right here. Is this whole thing in focus? Alright, I adjusted the focus a little bit. So we disconnect the keyboard from the motherboard, we disconnect the touchpad. This is the light for the motherboard, and we disconnect the touchpad right here from the motherboard. The reason we do it so that obviously we would have access to the jack, to the power connector. Take this guy out, take this guy out, take the LCD cable off of the motherboard, and then we're gonna disconnect this. Probably this is a touchscreen monitor. All right, and okay, no luck here. Disconnect the speakers from the motherboard. This is connected, this speaker is connected by this wire right here to this speaker, and it connects to the motherboard right there. We want to disconnect the wireless antennas. All right. Like that. Like that, like that. Okay. And here we want to unscrew these screws right here for the monitor hinge. Alrighty. Alright, so we unscrewed the hinges here. Let's unscrew the fan right here. Alright. Unscrew the screw right here on the motherboard. And two more screws right here on the fan. Alright. Alright, let's disconnect this fan from the motherboard. Okay, good job. And let's see if there is another screw right here that holds the motherboard down in place. Okay. And I don't see any more screws that hold the motherboard down. So let's try and lift up this guy. Alright, so there is a little tiny port right here that sticks to this side. So what we need to do, but I probably want to disconnect this cable here. We probably have to lift it from this end. Alright. Like that. Like that from the left side. Well, you know what, hold on. I want to lift up this fan and get this cable out, the LED cable. So now we're gonna have an access. You know what, the fan is being held in place right there. Again, this is the first time I'm taking it apart. Many of you would say, you know what, you could take a look online, the instructions on how to take it apart. Yes, those instructions usually come a week later after we make a video. There are a bunch of people who watch the videos, they make screenshots of the repair, and then they're gonna write a manual on how to take this whole thing apart. But till that day comes, I'm the first guy here to... The jack looks fine. The jack looks fine. I don't see the reason why the power connector is faulty to begin with here. Let me measure the continuity of the jack. All right, so Which one is the minus here? Come on. Well, for some reason. Let's leave this guy up. Alright, so the plus right here is this middle pin right here. Not the one on this side, not the one on that side, but this one. So as you can see, the trace going through the motherboard right here. This is the trace with the pins. Wait, hold on a second. Yeah, and it comes out right here. So technically, this thing and that thing should be okay. And we do get connection all the way to here. So that plus is working. Strange, why it doesn't wanna work? Maybe the power supply isn't from this Opera, that's why. So we're gonna plug in the plug. And we're gonna measure the negative. The negative conducts. Alright, so the center tiny pin right there conducts as well. But the plus doesn't show me anything. It shows me 0. I mean, shows me 0, meaning there is no conductivity between the plus and the plus. Alright, so it's safe to assume that the jack is faulty. So we're gonna, this is basically how to repair a faulty power connector, power jack, power socket, charging port on this Asus laptop computer. We're gonna insulate the area with the thermal 3M high temperature tape. Like that. Alrighty. And here we're gonna tape this guy like that to set it aside. There is really nothing to insulate on this side. There is no components that gonna follow the motherboard here. A few components right there, but they're just too far away from the epicenter of the heat. And I probably want to put a Kapton tape on top right here so that the connector, the HDMI connector, wouldn't melt, because it can melt assuming we're gonna use the hot air. I honestly not sure if I have this connector in stock, but I hope I do. And if I do, you can buy it from the link below. Alright guys, so the way how to desolder this connector from the motherboard is you have to add some flux, and then you have to add some leaded base solder, because this is unleaded base solder. Unleaded base solder is less toxic, but requires a much higher melting temperature. Once we add the toxic leaded base solder right here, we can point some hot air on this whole area, and the old solder, the leaded free solder, gonna mix with the leaded solder, and this connector just gonna follow the motherboard once we're gonna put hot air on top of it. Let me show you how I'm gonna do that. Alrighty, so what I'm gonna do now is add some flux right there, right there, right there. And then I'm gonna add some leaded base solder right here, right there, right there, right there, and right there. All right. So now I'm just gonna add some heat from the soldering iron and hopefully drop this connector down from the motherboard. Okay. Alrighty. Now we're gonna use the desoldering quick to desolder the leaded and unleaded solder from the connector holes, so that the new charging port would be able to get installed inside. Alrighty, so everything seems to be nice and clean. What I wanna do is I wanna use the desoldering quick on the top as well. Alright. Alrighty, the holes have to be nice and clean. Alrighty, so let's inspect the holes. You see the holes are nice and clean. Let's go into this mode. We got some extra stuff right here. Okay. No big deal. Just some debris. Alright, like that. Alright, looks good. Looks good, yeah. Looks all a little bit right. This hole. Alright, it looks good. Alrighty, so I was able to find an exactly the same jack in stock here. I have a couple dozen of those, so if you wanna, you can just order it from us. Again, the link should be below. And let's install it, see if it's gonna install fine. We're gonna flip the motherboard. We're gonna add some flux right here. Let me shut down the microscope. Well, I will shut down the microscope a little bit later. All right, so we're gonna put the new connector in place. And we're gonna hold down the connector. Okay. Alrighty. You probably can't see anything there. All right. Alrighty. Good job. Let's flip this guy over. Put some support underneath it. Let's add some more flux. Flux is essential to make sure that the solder flows all the way into the trace. Alrighty. All right. Beautiful job. Yep, wonderful. Excellent. All right, and like that. Unbelievable. Beautiful. Just beautiful power jack repair. This is how you replace the power jack. Now, I put a little bit too much solder on this end, so I'm just gonna desolder, take a little bit off, because it might not sit properly on the motherboard. All right, like that. And just a little bit here, a little bit right there, the support bracket. Okay. All right, let's shut down the soldering iron. Let's clean up this new power connector and the motherboard. All right, like that. Good job. All right, so we offer two types of services. You could send us the whole laptop, and we can replace the power connector, the charging port on the motherboard, or you could send us just the motherboard. Two different pricing. So yeah, and we work pretty much 7 days a week, so you could stop by. It should take about, I would say, an hour to replace this connector on this model. All work is done the same day. Yep. Let's assemble the laptop back. Well, hold on 1 second. Let's see if we can look under the microscope. See, this is just some cotton which doesn't conduct anything, so I just want to make sure. You see how the solder flowed from the leg? Let me show you. This is how it should look like. You see? Flowing into the leg, flowing into the leg, flowing into the leg. And that's on the top side. The bottom side, everything is nice and flowy. Okay, so here I just need to clean up stuff right here. Yeah, doesn't look really clean, so I need to clean it up. There, put some more alcohol right here. Just scrub it a little bit. Alrighty, and what I'm gonna do next, I'm gonna just use some air drying, and I will get back to this video in 5 minutes or so. Alright, everything. And I use 99% alcohol, so it's really not gonna cause any shortages anywhere for any reason. Alrighty. So the motherboard has been cleaned up. What I wanna do next is I wanna plug in the plug. And I wanna measure and see if we're gonna be getting the voltage through the plug to the motherboard. So that's a negative, negative. So we're gonna put a negative on a negative and positive on a negative, and we get zero resistance, meaning it's all good. We put it on a positive, we get resistance, meaning it's all good. And the data signal, and data signal, and the data signal doesn't show me anything. It does show me something here, but I guess it's not going anywhere. So that's the data signal. My understanding, there is no trace from the data signal going anywhere. So data signal is not used here at all. So yeah, from what it seems to me, this was a power connector issue. We will know once we put it all back together. All right, some static tape. Throw away the tape. Now let's bring down the whole casing. And let's try and put this guy in. This guy's supposed to be here, this guy here, this guy here, this guy, and this guy. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're gonna bring this guy like that. Like that. And like that. Looks good? Looks beautiful. Now what I wanna do next is connect the cable here. This is the ribbon cable for the lights and the power button, because those power buttons on the sides, they do go bad all the time. So that's the reason why they made it on a separate button, the separate board, so you can just replace the board if the button is bad, power button is faulty. They're not really that reliable. The design is good, but the reliability is not that good. Alright, so here we connect the keyboard cable, the touchpad, the power button right there. This is the lights for the keyboard. My understanding, I'm not sure if it's a lighted keyboard or not, but usually that means it's a light backlight bulb for the lights on under the keyboard. Alright. Here we connect the speaker. Alright. Let's connect the speaker. And the way you connect the speaker is by having the pins are facing upwards. So basically right where the pins are up, this is where it's up. Alright, like that, or the black dot on the connector. Here we connect the Wi-Fi cable. Let's connect the Wi-Fi cable. And here is where we connect the another Wi-Fi cable. So if one of those is disconnected, it's still gonna work, no big deal, but those are connected well. Now this guy, we have to screw a screw in there first. Screw one screw right here. Screw another screw right here. Alright. Now we're gonna guide this guy, this LED cable through like that. We're gonna leave this guy up like that, and then we're gonna connect this cable for the fan right here, and this is where we connect the LED cable. And my understanding, this is the cable, the screw with the big head right here. Now next thing is we're gonna guide the other LED cable or the touchpad cable, not sure which one is which. This is UX563TPBD. This is backlight BD cable. So it says UX563TPBD. That's what it says on this guy. Make sure that there is no dust whatsoever on this guy. Overall, the laptop looks like brand new. I mean, I'm not sure. I haven't seen many new laptops. Usually we get like a year-old laptops, but this one seems to be still under warranty. That's what's questionable to me. You know, when I get something like that, that looks beautiful, I always have to second guess like what happened. Like, is it the jack issue or it's not the jack issue? We put another screw right here, another screw right there. Right here, right there. So right here, right there, and right there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we got one more screw, which goes, and the screw goes to right here. All right, so now we're gonna close down the hinge. Make sure you close it down and not pinch this cable right here, okay? Because once you pinch the cable, you're pretty much done. So hopefully my video helped you to take apart the laptop, put the laptop back together, replace the connector. I would appreciate a like. Feel free to comment. A comment would really be appreciated, because the mostly commented videos do get a lot of YouTube. The rating improves a lot, basically. Now, here's where we're gonna. Okay, so I said I've done pretty much everything here, right? I didn't take those guys off, so I don't need to redo the thermal paste and everything. I don't need to clean the thermal paste, and I don't need to apply the thermal paste. So here we got 3 screws holding the battery down. So if you were watching this video on how to replace the battery, this is how. Just basically 1, 2, 3. And nowadays we do a lot of people rip off this battery cable right here all the time. So sometimes we can solder it. Not in this case. Oh no, in this case I can also solder it. Okay, so even in this case I would be able to fix the battery terminal. All right, so we're gonna just slowly. All right, so everything's done. Okay, okay. So we're gonna slowly put this guy right there and remove all the metal from anywhere. All right, so close down the hinge. That way you have the battery. All right, so here, let's bring this guy in. This is the cover. All right, so hold on 1 second. This is where I was taking it apart. So it's not as straight as it used to be. All right, so now we're just gonna straighten it out because that's where I was jamming the tool, the pry tool, and the goal was to, yeah. Alrighty. All right, that's good. Yeah, wonderful. Now let's bring the T5 Torx 5 screwdriver right here. Put this guy in right there. All right. Have to be a bit more careful next time. Not shove this guy as much in there. So aluminum casings are not the best idea on a laptop because they short the motherboard all the time. But it's good for for business basically. Once the motherboard gets shorted, you buy a new laptop. So it's in the best interest of the laptop manufacturers to basically make aluminum casings. All right, let's screw everything back in. All right. Like that. And let's do some right here on the front. Alrighty. Okay. And the last screw. It's a good idea to magnetize the head. All right, the moment of truth. All right, seems like everything is aligned. Everything's aligned perfectly fine. Let's connect the power supply. See if this thing works. Also, before you connect the power supply, make sure the pin inside of the plug is straight like that. And it's not like that, or like that, or like that, or like that, or like that. Because that's what usually breaks the connections. All right. And we have a light right here as soon as I connect it. Right. Well, I just had the light. Oh, right there. All right, where is it? Yeah. So we got two lights, the orange light and the white light. See if we wiggle this guy. Do we still get the light? All right, so here is something questionable. It might be that the tip of the cord right here is faulty because here, let me bring another camera. So you see, now we get no lights. Right now we get lights. Lights. You see this bending right there, right here? That's where usually the problem is at. All right, so maybe it's because it's the first time it's being plugged in. Oh, wow. Wow, wow, viva. So, yeah. I don't really like laptops that have this glassy screen. That's basically the touch screen. I do get a lot of headache from it. And that's the reason I don't program on anything like that ever. Just too much headache. So this is mostly for... Okay. All right, are you gonna power up? All right. Okay, so that light means it should be powering up. Powerful, discrete graphics. Discrete graphics. US military grade quality. Okay, I won't make any sarcasm here. Ultra fast Wi-Fi 6. I know we already have 6 Wi-Fi 6. You know, you could even put 10 in here. Maybe it's gonna be... You know, I have to research about Wi-Fi 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Are there really 6 Wi-Fis? 360 ergo lift hinge. Frame-less Nano H. Okay. 3D IR camera. Okay. All right. G4 GTX. That's an expensive card. Pantone validate. What's Pantone? Who is Pantone? That's the question. You can validate all you want. When the jack breaks, you're gonna ship it to me. And you can put here power jack repair validated as well. Yeah. All right, guys. Now the thing is, the laptop obviously works. It powers up. We're still searching for incredible. All right, something spins on the bottom. The only thing left to do for me is to see if the cord is faulty right here by wiggling it back and forth. If it's not gonna respond well, then I will have to replace the tip. I will chop off the tip right here and put another cord on top of this power supply. Alright, so we got the plug right there showing that it's plugged in. And now we're gonna wiggle this guy up, down, and bend the cord right here and see if the plug gonna change the coloring. The plug doesn't want to change the coloring, it's still plugged in. Let's disconnect it, plug it back in, wiggle it a bit more. Now I guess the cord is fine. My guess the cord is just fine because I wiggle it all I want and nothing happens. So those lights right here are not exactly the best point of reference. Again, whoever written this thing up and that thing up, great marketing campaign. Thank you so much guys for watching. Please leave a like if it's not too much trouble. The laptop works fine. And I just want to test the keyboard, the touchpad. Touchpad is fine. Keyboard is fine. And I just need to check the Wi-Fi to be picking up Wi-Fi. Okay, Wi-Fi picks up. This is it. Thank you so much for watching. You guys take care and have a good day. Thanks. Bye.